Hello. Today, reading aloud with an intervention specialist, we're going to read Waiting for Pumpsie, written by Barry Wittenstein. I do want to mention before we get started that this book is historical fiction and based in the 1960s. Since it is based in the 1960s, it uses some terms that in today's current world we find to be politically incorrect, and we no longer use those words. So I just want to let you know before we read this that it is based in the 1960s and does have some racially discriminating words in it. Okay, let's get started. Today's book is going to be about baseball. Okay? I'm Bernard, and I'm crazy about the Red Sox. Everybody in Boston is. It's just something you get born into. We're lucky, I guess. He's got all the Red Sox stuff. 1959. We always want the Sox to win, but Mama says we gotta root for all the colored players, no matter what team they're on. How's come the Giants got Willie Mays and Jackie Robinson retired from the Dodgers, but we don't still have a Negro player? I asked Papa. That's a good question, Papa says. It's an excellent question. Okay, this is him talking to his papa. Every year, we go to a game at the Fenway Park. There's no place in the whole world like it. Men with funny hats and aprons yell, "Get your Cracker Jack!" The left field wall even has a name, the Green Monster. I'm not kidding. Last year, we saw the Sox play the Yankees. Papa complained that they had only one Negro, but I said, it's one more than we got. That player, Elston Howard, hit a single to put the Yanks up 1-0 in the second inning. My sister Lisa and I jumped up and screamed. Two men behind us yelled, "Sit down and shut up." Mama and Papa spun around real fast. One man said a bad word. Mama pointed a finger in his face. "Who do you think you're talking to?" she said. Then a policeman came over. He said, "You people need to learn how to behave." He said it to us. I don't ask Mama and Papa anymore why more colored people don't come to Fenway. I'm old enough now to know. Change is coming real soon, Mama said, like she could see the future. Is she right? I asked Papa. He laughed. Your Mama's always right. Then we all laughed, especially Mama. Besides, the Celtics already got Negro stars, Bill Russell and Casey Jones. Even the Bruins, our hockey team, have a colored player. So why not the Sox? Here's those guys right there. During spring training, we hear about this Negro in the minor leagues, Pumpsie Green. What a great name. Papa says he's the best rookie. Every Sunday, I pray for him to make the lineup. Opening day is almost here. Maybe I don't pray hard enough, because at the last minute, they tell him, "Sorry, Pumps, you're not ready." Makes no sense, Papa says, shaking his head. The owner doesn't want colored players on his team. This proves it. I don't think it'll ever happen, I say. Papa's big arms pull me in. We've waited this long, Bernard. What's a little longer? Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. The Sox are dropping like a rock into last place. Papa's newspaper says important colored and white folks are getting mighty angry. They say Pumpsie deserves a chance. Here's some of the newspaper clippings here. It says protests at Fenway. Some fans protest at Fenway Park. Race hate is hurting baseball in Boston. We want a pendant, not a white team. Late goal wins game. Pumpsie goes to farm team. Did Pumpsie get a bad deal? Finally, one sticky July day, my prayers are answered. The Sox tell him, Pumps, pack your bags, you made it. They are playing a night game in Chicago. We huddle around the radio. Mama makes popcorn to make it feel like we're at Fenway. We listen real hard, but we don't hear Pumpsie's name. Maybe he'll come in later, Papa says, smiling. When he sees our long faces, the game enters the 5th, 6th, 7th innings, and still no Pumpsie. Now, Papa's expression changed. In the 8th inning, with the Red Sox down 2-1, the first batter hits a single. The man on the radio says, now running to first base. We hold our breath. Pumpsie Green. This is history, Mama shouts. Do not forget this moment, Papa roars, wiping his eyes. Never, ever, ever. We promise, Lisa and I hug Mama and Papa like we just won a prize money. I imagine Pumpsie taking a lead, rocking back and forth to distract the pitcher like Jackie Robinson used to do. The Sox made 1, 2, 3 outs. Pumpsie is stuck at first. No luck. We lose. Again. I'm not kidding. Not too thrilled, was he? The next day, there's a picture in the newspaper of Ted Williams giving Pumpsie batting tips. I figure that if Teddy Ballgame wants to be Pumpsie's friend, maybe the Sox can start winning. The Red Sox play away games in Kansas City, then Cleveland, and finally Detroit. Whew. The night they land in Boston, newspapermen push and shove at the airport to snap pictures. Pop, pop, pop. It's like Pumpsie's a movie star. The next morning at breakfast, Papa surprises us. For once, the stands are packed with colored faces. Look at that. He gets them 4 seats to this game. Okay. In the first inning, Pumpsie heads to his position at second base. I hear a man yell, "Get that Negro out the field." Mama tells us to ignore him. Some people have hearts full of ignorance, she explains. Pumpsie makes a nifty pivot for a double play that ends the top of the first. Now it's Boston's turn at bat. Leading off for the Red Sox, number 12, Pumpsie Green, the announcer's voice echoes through Fenway. We're stomping our feet so much the stadium starts to shake. Pumpsie takes 2 practice swings. He digs in. The pitcher looks for a sign. He shakes his head. Then the pitcher winds up. Pumpsie pulls his bat back. The ball shoots out of the pitcher's hand like a rocket. Pumpsie swings. Whack! The ball climbs higher and higher. I think it's going to make it over that mean green monster. No. It clanks off the top of the wall and bounces back on the field. Pumpsie rounds first base and rounds like his own uniform can't keep up. The outfielder heaves the ball back in. Pumpsie slides, safe at third. Fenway goes crazy. I look over to where the man full of ignorance is sitting. He's gone. Lisa and I whoop even louder. The Sox win. After the game, I stop walking for a minute and turn around. I look at Fenway and the crowd and tell my eyes to take a picture. So beautiful. The bus is buzzing real loud on the ride back to Roxbury. People are asking if the Sox can get back into the pennant race now that we have Pumpsie. That gets me thinking, is he as good as Jackie? We pass people standing in front of the stores and on lawns. They're waving Red Sox flags and holding up that newspaper picture of Ted and Pumpsie. I can even hear chants of Pumpsie, Pumpsie, and car horns beep, beep, beeping. It's like New Year's Eve and 4th of July rolled into one. I'm not kidding. One day I'll tell my kids how long we waited for Pumpsie Green. I'll tell them how he dug his heels into the batter's box. I'll tell them how I pretended it was me, Bernard, sliding into third. And I'll tell them it happened at Fenway Park, the most beautiful place in the world. Finally, just like Mama and Papa said it would. The end. I want to read this because I think it's very important to read the author's notes in the back of these books, especially when they're historical fiction, because you get an idea of how they came up with the information that went into their story. So let's read the author's note here. I know it's a tad bit long and you may not be able to see all of it, but I'm going to read it to you. Bernard is a fictional character, but the events leading up to Pumpsie Green's 1959 arrival in the major leagues with the Boston Red Sox are true. I was Bernard's age when I first heard of a baseball player with a funny name, Pumpsie Green. By that time, it was 1963, and his short career was quickly coming to a close with my favorite team, the New York Mets. Unlike Bernard, I didn't think very much about racism in baseball while I was growing up in the 1960s. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier on April 15, 1947, at Ebbets Field as the first African-American Major League ball player with the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's what I knew, and I assumed that every team integrated quickly after that. Sadly, that's not how it happened. I was shocked when I learned that it was another 12 years before the Red Sox allowed a person of color to wear their uniform. Many said the Sox did it only because public opinion was growing more vocal and determined each day. Both fans and civil rights organizations were becoming increasingly angry that the Red Sox wouldn't let a black player play. Think about it this way. By the time Pumpsie was called up from the minors to play for the Sox, Jackie had already been retired for 2 years. Many people, especially younger fans, aren't familiar with this history. There's not very much out there to read about Pumpsie Green. The Red Sox sometimes invited him back to Fenway to throw out a ceremonial first pitch. To some, that seems like a nice gesture. To others, it might feel a little embarrassing because it's a reminder of the time when the Sox management didn't do what most people in society thought was the right thing. Bernard's story is about more than baseball, the game. It's about moving toward equality and how sports can help change society for the better. For kids like Bernard, who lived through Pumpsie's debut in 1959, seeing the last Major League Baseball team racially integrated was an important personal and historical moment. Elijah Pumpsie Green, shortstop. You can find a list of the first black players on each major league team by searching online. And these are where they got their sources. Beautiful book. Just beautiful. So thank you for reading today with me. Today we read Waiting for Pumpsie by Barry Wittenstein. And I want to encourage you to read more and to read more historical fiction. It's one of my favorite genres in books.